All right, how's everybody doing this morning? Okay. So my name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. Everyone put their 2 fingers up for peace real quick. All right, good. So listen, we're going to start with some hip-hop music this morning. Sound good? Okay, here we go. 2 fingers up for peace. We're going to rock it. Here we go. Mic check. All right.
I've got something to tell you. That's why I'm here today, to rap this tune. So listen to me and hear what I have to say. Hey, it's Mr. Peace, yeah, and you are my family. Let's break it down and start sharing about our feelings, about a new way that'll help promote healing. But be honest, pinky promise, if you really want peace, and if you do, then show your hands, please. I mean, for real, we need to take responsibility by including others when you have the opportunity, at lunch or recess, even in the hallways. Any chance to be a friend throughout the whole school day. Cause with peace, I need all your support. I need everyone to step it up. Grades K to 4 and 5. Be good role models while demonstrating non-violence. Put an end to all of the hate that you see. Yo, you gotta have each other's back through the lowest of lows and the darkest shade of black. Everything in life, everything to look back. Peace brings love, that's exactly what we lack. Like this, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And if you got peace, I got peace too. I'm saying whoa, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And in the words of Gandhi, peace be with you. Alright, now listen, when I say peace, you all say in. Peace. And when I say peace, you all say out. Peace. And when I say be, you all say kind. Be. And when I say show, you all say love. Show.
All right, now we're warmed up. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, good job. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, peace. So listen, my name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. That's how I get up every morning. A different beat on my alarm clock, and I wake up and just start rapping. No, I'm joking. But it's great to be here with you guys to share my heart. I'm actually a full-time youth pastor at a church here in Michigan. I live in Township. And on my off days, off weeks, I get to travel this whole country. I get to speak to people from age 5 up to age 105. And before I begin my talks, before I start speaking to any audience, I'd just like to let you guys know that every single breath that I take today is going to be worth your time. So the talk today has a lot to do with these 2 individuals, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, right? But the actual quote is, you must be the change that you wish to see in this world. So he's not saying, well, just if you want more kindness in this world, well, be more kind if you feel like it. He's saying we have to. We have to show more peace and love, compassion, respect, right? And look, Dr. King, whose birthday we just celebrated, right? He said the time is always right to do what is right. And what is right is to appreciate everybody all around us, right? So before we get into the talk though, I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you would like a $20 bill? $20, only going to call on you if you're sitting on your bottom. Respectful, crisscross applesauce. I like applesauce, the cinnamon kind. Okay. One second. How many of you guys still want that $20 bill? Okay. One second. Anybody still want $20 bill? You still want $20 bill? All right, one second. All right, let's go back. Back here, one second. Let me come through here, one second. Excuse me. One second. Right, excuse me. Back here. One second. Okay, guys, give her a round of applause. She wanted it. Okay. Good job. All right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, peace. So listen, Haviland, this is why I do this example. This $20 bill, didn't matter if I crumpled it up, if I sneezed on it, if I slam dunk, jumped on it, it's still worth how much? $20, right? And look, even though it's dirty and crinkled and wrinkled and been stepped on, I can take this $20 bill to any bank and they'll give me a fresh, crisp, clean, brand new $20 bill. No questions asked. I've done this before, right? But see what I see happen too often in the schools that I visit is that when it comes to money, no matter what kind of shape it's in or condition it's in, almost every one of you were like, me, Mr. Peace, please, Mr. Peace, please. But when it comes to people around us, and if they're not the same size as us, or the same shape, or the same skin color, or they have a different hairstyle, or they dress differently, or they eat different foods, or they're born differently, if they walk differently, if they talk differently, if they see differently or hear differently. Sometimes we don't accept everybody like we accept our best friend. Sometimes we don't accept everybody like they're worth a full $20. And if we don't accept everybody, we can cause people a lot of pain inside their hearts. And it only takes a couple seconds. So the talk today, here's the $20 bill, you guys can see it again. But the talk today has to do with these 3 words: diversity, kindness, leadership. Everybody say diversity. Diversity. Everybody say kindness. Kindness. Everybody say leadership. Leadership. But even more importantly than these, the talk today has to do with my shirt. It says one race, human. One race, human. Which means that we see everybody around us as human beings before anything else. Because if we don't, we can cause people a lot of pain in their hearts that can last forever, and it only takes a few seconds. So everybody go like this. This is a school near the Atlantic Ocean in Massachusetts, elementary school. Everybody go like this, make a fist. All right, now go like this. No, don't do that. But listen, this right here, your fist is as big as your heart, right? And look at, your fist is as big as your heart. But here's the idea. If we let love, peace, compassion, kindness, and appreciation for diversity, all of our differences, if we let that enter into our hearts fully, we turn this into this. And the reason that it's 2, peace sign, is because one finger, that's a heart too, thank you. The one finger is yourself, and the other finger is someone you're trying to lift up higher than yourself by how you treat them, right? But it's also 2 seconds, because in one word, one action, one heartbeat, 2 seconds, we can lift somebody up and treat them a good way, that something we say or do stays on their heart for the rest of their life in a positive way. Or in 2 seconds, if we say something mean, it can stay on their heart for the rest of their life in a negative way. We have that choice, right? So before I keep going to my talk though, I want to ask you guys a question. What is diversity? Does anybody know what that word means? Diversity? I'm only going to call on you if you're quiet. Thank you. Thank you. What do you think diversity means? Anybody? What do you think? We'll come back to you. Anybody else? What do you think it means? Yeah. You can show kindness no matter what. What's your name? Adrian. Thanks for sharing that. So diversity, right, is how we're different, right? But those are great things. So there's outside diversity. So it could be our skin color, where we were born, the languages we speak, how we dress, our culture, our background. All of that stuff is diversity. Our differences. And we have to appreciate that, right? But it's also what's on the inside. How many of you guys are good at sports? Hands down, hands down, hands down. How many of you guys are good at singing? La, 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 la. Hands down, hands down, hands down. How many of you guys are good at drawing? Hands down, hands down. How many of you guys are good at dancing? No. Hands down, hands down. How many of you guys are good at video games? Hands down, hands down, hands down. How many of you guys are good at being a friend? Hands down, hands down, hands down. So listen, Haviland, all of those things, what you're good at, what you're not good at, your skills, your talents, your abilities, your character, who you are as a person, all those things are also diversity on the inside. And we have to respect all of that, otherwise we can cause people a lot of pain in their hearts, and it takes just a couple seconds. But I want to prove this to you guys through a story, but I need a couple of volunteers. And again, I'm only going to call on you. You're sitting respectful, quiet, on your bottom. I'll take you right here. Yep, come on. We'll take you. Yep, come on. We'll take you. Yep, come on. We'll take you. Come up to the front. If I call your name, come up to the front. We'll take you. Come up to the front. Yep. And I need one more. Probably not going to call on you if you're saying me. I'm going to call on you if you're sitting respectful. We'll take you. Okay, yep. All right, give these guys a round of applause. So listen, I'm going to start beatboxing and you guys are going to start freestyling. Okay, here we go. And I'm just joking. I'm not going to do that to you guys. So listen, here's what we're going to do. For this story, I'm going to have you be my catcher. You stand right here. You'll be my pitcher. Come over here and face the screen. Back over right here. And you hold this. Thanks. I'm going to have you be my first base. Can you go by this? Okay, over here. See right here. Her hands up. Go by her. Okay. You'll be my second base. Can you go by this is her. Okay, right there. See her? Yeah. I'm going to have you be my shortstop. So you go by that girl, whatever your name is, go by her. Okay. All right. You'll be my third base. You go by right here. This is. Thank you. So, what sport do you think this story is about? Baseball. You guys got it. Good job. Listen, this is a true story about a boy named Shay. Everybody say Shay. Now listen, Shay was in elementary school, and he had to stay after school about 30 minutes, half an hour, to finish a project. And as soon as he got done with his project, his dad came to pick him up from school, and they started to walk home, because they lived right down the street from the school. So they get outside the school doors, and Shay sees some of his classmates playing baseball on the field outside of the school. So Shay tugs on his dad's shirt and says, Dad, do you think if I ask them to play that they'll say yes? And his dad looks at him and he says, sure, son, go ahead. But in his mind and in his heart, his dad thinks that they're going to say no. So, even though they're going to say no potentially, because you see, Shay was born differently than a lot of us. Shay was born with one leg shorter than the other. So when he walked, he kind of had a limp like this. And he learned a lot slower than his classmates. So he wasn't that fast, he wasn't that good at sports. It took him longer to learn things. And he was always getting teased for those two reasons. But even though his dad thought they might say no because of how he was born, he said, go ahead and ask him anyways. So Shay goes and he interrupts their game. And the game is tied. It's the last inning of the game. It's the 9th inning. And there's 2 outs, only 1 out to go. And Shay interrupts their whole game and says, guys, can I play? Can I play? And they all look at Shay. And one boy says, not today, Shay. Maybe next time. This other boy says, you know, Shay, you're just not that good. And then this other boy says, hey, Shay, why don't you just get lost? So Shay's head's down like this, and he's ready to leave. And then this one boy steps forward and says, Shay can have my spot. Shay can be on my team. And the person who it was is the person who's up to bat next. And Shay's barely ever held a bat before. He's played baseball maybe once in his life. And he's going against Michael Fulmer. I'm joking, a good pitcher. And so he's going up here, and here comes pitch number 1. Pitcher, just nice and easy. Pitch 1, swing, and a miss. Strike 1. You can toss it back, nice and easy. Here comes pitch 2. Swing, and a miss. Strike 2. 3 strikes, you're out. At the old ball game, buy me some peanuts. Okay, sorry. And here comes pitch number 3. Nice and easy. Swing, and a strike just a little bit. He barely even hits the ball. It goes right back to the pitcher. It's going to be an easy out. But even though it's going to be an easy out, they say, Shay, try running to first base anyways. So he starts running to first base, and the pitcher starts walking after Shay. And she's just about to tag Shay right before he hits the first base, and then he throws it, she throws it over the first base's head. Oh, nope, she threw it at the first base, and it hit off of her. So then the first base picks it up, and then she starts bobbing like a hot potato. Like this, like a hot potato. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ah. And then she picks it up finally again. She picks it up again. And now they say, Shay, go to second. Go to second. So Shay's dodging first. Second grader's not sure what age they are. We're sitting on the baseball field that day. And so Shay's going to second base. And so she throws it to second base. But it goes past him. It goes towards the wall. Towards the wall there. So he goes to get the ball, and he hands the ball. So they say, Shay, go to third. And then he throws it to shortstop, and she picks it up. And now she's chasing Shay. She's chasing after Shay. Come on this way. And so Shay's going to third, and she gives it to her.
He's giving it to her.
He gives it to her, and then it goes towards the custodial closet, towards the stage. And so now Shay, they say, Shay, go home. And she, go ahead, toss it in there, but then get it. Okay, now she's coming home, and Shay hits the base just in time before he gets tagged. His team wins. They pick him up on their shoulders. They all say, Shay, 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 Shay. And they're so happy that his team won. Give these guys a round of applause. Good job. You guys can have a seat. Good job. Thank you. You guys can have a seat. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. All right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Blast off. So listen, Haviland. Here's why I tell this story. How many seconds did it take that boy to say that Shay can have my spot? How many seconds? 2, right? 2 seconds, and it changed Shay's life forever. Because guess what? This pitcher, she could have walked and tagged Shay out. That's how slow he was. That first base, second base, shortstop, third base, they could have all walked and tagged Shay out. That's how slow he was. But they threw it past each other on purpose. They bobbled it on purpose. It went between their legs. Because what they started realizing is that who won or lost the game, it wasn't as important as making Shay feel welcome, including this human being into this world, right? And it changed his life forever, because not only did everybody on the baseball field start to accept Shay, the entire school started to accept Shay after that day. Because of one action that took 2 seconds. And this took a lot of courage. Because this boy who said, Shay can have my spot, they could have told him to get lost too. Because he was trying to include somebody who was different. That took a lot of courage. But all of you guys have that same power. And sometimes it just takes 2 seconds. So I'm going to show you guys a video. And this is about a boy named Matt. Everybody say Matt. Matt! And Matt is from a school, he's from a school in Ohio. And Matt was born with cerebral palsy. He was born with cerebral palsy, so when Matt walks or runs, a lot of times his muscles in his body spasm. And so it's hard for him to run. And he gets out of breath really, really fast. So they had school track day at their school when it was really warm outside. And the gym teacher came up to Matt and said, Matt, you don't have to run this race if you don't want to. Because he knows he gets out of breath really fast. And it's hard for him to run. But even though Matt knows that, he said, no, I'm going to try. Watch what happens when he starts running the race, what his classmates do, and his gym teacher. And then we're going to talk about it.
The race at one elementary school that really moved us. A little boy so determined to stay in the race, even when it looked like he couldn't make it any further.
Timers, I'm going to just say go. You ready?
It was race day at Colonial Hills Elementary School near Columbus, Ohio.
Go!
They were off, and right there at the back of the pack, 11-year-old Matt Woodruff, determined to run with the rest of the class.
Go, Maddie!
But it wasn't long before Matt was trailing a bit. He had cerebral palsy and was told he didn't have to run that race if he could sit it out. But Matt wanted it. Making his way around that track, his proud mom videotaping the whole thing. Suddenly, Matt starts to slow down, starts to struggle. And watch the left corner of your screen. Right there, that's gym teacher John Blaine walking toward Matt on the field. Soon, some gentle coaching on his side. That gym teacher would stay right there the rest of the race, and then something else. Suddenly, his classmates begin to notice, and one by one, they start making their way toward Matt too. The crowd swelling beside him, and so does their chant. Matt rounding that final bend, his entire class in tow, every step of the way. Then his rally, teachers watching at the end, the cheers at the finish line. He did it. Afterward, his mother could hardly find him in the midst of all his fans. A high five there, and a hug. That race now going viral on the internet, and Matt told me just today on the phone what that moment was like. That entire class was behind him.
It was tiring, but it really helped me and my classmates and my coach and everybody supported me. It was really encouraging.
Mom, who was there taping it all, and Dad, who saw it later, both so proud tonight.
I couldn't have been more proud of my son. It was very heartwarming.
Dad's proud, and so are we. And in fact, Matt told me if he had to race all again tomorrow, he would do it for sure. 808,000 hits now on that video on the internet.
All right, give it up for Matt. Good job. So look, this is so cool. This is so cool because you saw all these people that really stood up for Matt. And he started getting tired, right? And he was kind of slowing down, and the gym teacher came to encourage him, but then all his classmates, people from other classes came to encourage him. And some were younger, some were older, some were boy, some were girl, some were different skin color. And they all came to support him. Is it safe to say that what happened to him that day is going to be on his heart for the rest of his life? Yeah. But in a positive way, right? And we all have that same power. So my sign here, this is from a school in California. It says, need human kindness. Everybody say that. Need human kindness. And what I mean by that is that we have to treat other people, our fellow human beings around us, with kindness, love, compassion, respect. But how come we don't treat people with kindness and love? How come bullying happens? What do you guys think? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they're trying to be cool, they're trying to get a laugh, right? What else?
Because they don't want to show peace. They don't want to show love.
Maybe something happened to them in their hearts, and so they don't really want to show that love because they maybe have been hurt. What else? Maybe something going on at home. That can be true. What else? Why does bullying happen? Yeah. Somebody said something mean to them, so they're just going to say something mean back. Let's get one more. Yeah.
If they were at a game, like if they were at
So maybe something happened to them. Hurt. So maybe the person doing it, their heart's kind of small, their their self-esteem is kind of low, so they want to bring someone else down to their level. Sometimes it's because they're jealous that someone's better at them than, a certain sport or something, a talent, or they have something that that person doesn't have, hands down. But the biggest reason why people bully, and I've spoken in over 20 states in this country, over 1,000 schools, 1 million youth. The biggest reason that I see why people bully is because hurt people hurt people. Everybody say that. Hurt people hurt people. And what I mean by that is that when we're first born, Google Gaga, right? When we're first born, our hearts are kind of like this empty cup, pretty much empty. If people haven't hurt our feelings, people haven't said mean things to us, they haven't said that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not tall enough, you're not enough. And people haven't hurt our feelings, so there's no pain in our heart. But little by little, we start to get hurt, and our heart starts to get full of pain, and it's kind of a dark color to show the pain, right? And so if our heart keeps getting full of hurt, the easy thing to do is to go push that hurt and pain on someone else by how we treat them poorly. But that's not the right thing to do. So look, if I keep filling this up, right, it's going to overflow. And a lot of times it overflows onto other people by how we treat them. But even worse, it overflows onto us sometimes by how we treat ourselves. That if we believe the lie that somebody called us and they said you're too short, or that you're not smart, and we believe that, then you're actually kind of bullying yourself and hurting yourself, right? But look, no matter how full of pain, hurt, or loss our hearts get, there's always room for love if we let it, if we choose that. So it's true, hurt people, but it's also true if we choose this Haviland, that healed people heal people. Everybody give it up for my cup. And so look, here's what I mean by this. Everybody say that. Healed people heal people. And so what I mean by that is that if I choose to forgive somebody who's shown me only hate, which is not easy to do, but if I forgive them, my heart becomes healed. And now I can go help heal other people. And look, Dr. Martin Luther King, he said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And he said hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that, if we choose that. Everybody say Irene Kopko. Irene Kopko is 103 years old. That's her right there. She's 103. That's a little bit older than you. But listen, Irene Kopko was 103, and I was at her birthday party, and I was eating some cake. Chocolate, frosting, fudge, sprinkle cake. It was so good. And I said, Irene, you're 103. Tell me about your life. Tell me the good times, the bad times, the glad times, the mad times, the sad times, the times that rhyme with ad. And she said, Mr. Peace, my most painful memory was back in 4th grade. She was in 4th grade. And she was at the front of the class. And this happened over 90 years ago. It was still in her mind like it happened yesterday and on her heart. And she was at the front of the class. And this boy came up from behind her. And he teased her because of her height, because she was short. And because of her weight. She was heavy, heavier than her classmates. And it just humiliated her in front of everybody. It like crushed her. So she kept thinking growing up, I'm too short to try this. Every time she tried something new, I'm too short or I'm too heavy. And it wasn't until she was 40 years old, she finally forgave this boy in her heart. And then she became a youth worker to help other students who felt how she felt back when she was that age. She became healed to help heal people. And where are my second graders at? Hands down. I was talking at a school in Indiana. I was telling the first group, the first assembly, the older students. And there was in the gym, there was about 3 times the size of this gym cafeteria. And there was 1,000 elementary students. And I was speaking to them in the gym. And then this teacher, she came up and she interrupted me during the assembly. She came up, she's like, hey, Mr. Peace, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, everybody, but I just got to share something on my heart. I said, yeah, go ahead, here's the microphone. And her first name was Kate. She said, Mr. Peace, everybody, my most painful memory was 40 years ago, back in 2nd grade. And she was the new girl at school. And right before lunch one day, this group of popular girls, they came up to Kate, and they said, hey, Kate, you can sit with us today at lunch. Go get your lunch, and then come sit by us. And she's like, are you guys serious? Is this a joke? And they're like, no. Go get your lunch, and then come sit by us. So she gets her lunch tray out of the lunch line. She's like, oh my gosh, this is my shot. I'm going to finally fit in. I'm going to finally be accepted for who I am. And she goes to sit down. And as soon as she sits down, at their table, all the girls stand up on their chairs. And they shout across the cafeteria so everybody can hear them. They say, hey, everybody, look at Kate. She can't even afford nice clothes. And she runs out crying. And you see, Kate's parents didn't have a lot of money growing up, so sometimes she wore the same outfit 3 times a week to school. And she was made fun of because of that. But she forgave these girls in her heart, and then she chose to become a 2nd grade teacher. So that what happened to her back in 2nd grade, her most painful memory, would never happen again to any of her students on her watch at her new school. She became healed to heal other people. And I was checking out of a school in California, ready to sign out, right by the Pacific Ocean on the coast. And I was in the office, ready to leave, and this 3rd grader named Dominic came up to me. He said, hey, Mr. Peace, do you want to know what my most painful memory was? I said, yeah, tell me. He said, it was 2 years ago in 1st grade. I had my heart crushed by this girl. Had my heart broken. Where are my 1st graders at? Okay, hands down. He was in 1st grade, and he was on the bus. And there was a 5th grader on the bus. And this 5th grader, for 2 months in a row, 2 months straight, she looked at Dominic and turned to him and said, you're never going to have any friends. You're never going to have any friends. Think about how you feel if somebody said you're never going to have any friends, right? He said, Mr. Peace, I went home that night, I cried myself to sleep. He said, I want to go back to school again. It hurt so much. He said, Mr. Peace, it hurt so bad, it felt like it felt like my heart broke into a billion pieces. But then he said something to me. He said, but you know what, Mr. Peace? I said, what? He said, now I have best friends. Now I have best friends. How many of you guys have best friends? Hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because they play with you? Hands down, hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because you have something in common? Hands down, hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because they make you laugh? Hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because they got your back? Okay, hands down, hands down. So listen, that $20 bill, is it up here? I'll give it back for gas later. But listen, this $20 bill, not even 20 minutes ago, a lot of you were like, Mr. Peace. But none of you would tell me that your best friend is your best friend because of how much money they have or don't have, what kind of clothes they wear, what kind of house they live in, what kind of car their parents drive. How come nobody would say that person's my best friend because of all the things? How come? How come nobody would say that? What do you think? How come nobody would say those things as to why that person's my best friend? How come? Yeah.
Because then you would be hurting yourself and be saying that you were making fun of yourself to say that you're not doing it.
So if it was just about the things, then that's not really like a real friendship, right? What else? Yeah. It's rooted to like just focus what's on the outside, not what's on the inside. So it's more about who you are, not what you have. Hands down. So listen, Dominic started crying in the office. And he said, Mr. Peace, that's my best friend David standing over there. And he's my best friend because when I was getting bullied and teased and put down and ridiculed and harassed and embarrassed, he stood up for me when I didn't have the courage to myself. That's a best friend. To see somebody for their heart first. And if we treated everybody like we treated our best friend, do you think we'd still have bullying happen? No, because you see people for their heart first. I was speaking at a school near Chicago, Illinois, and a 5th grader came up to me. Her name was Cheyenne, this 5th grader, after my talk. And she said, Mr. Peace, there's a girl who moved to our school this past fall, and she's in a wheelchair for life. She's in a wheelchair permanently. Her name is Jenny, and she can't move her legs, her waist down. She's paralyzed. We can talk after, okay? Thanks. But listen, so she can't move her legs. And so this first day that Jenny got to school, Cheyenne's friends pulled her aside and said, don't even talk to this girl. She's different, she's weird. And Cheyenne said, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to my heart. So she went up to her and said, hey, do you want to be my friend? And Jenny said yes. And ever since that day at lunch, recess, library, gym, she includes Jenny. And then she said something to me, this 5th grader, her wisdom. She said, Mr. Peace, when I see her, I see this before this. I see her heart first before this wheelchair, before this piece of equipment. And that's the actual wheelchair right there. To see someone's heart before anything. And this is a speaker. His name is Nick Vujicic. Everybody say Vujicic. Say Vujicic. Isn't that fun? Nick Vujicic, he's from Australia. He's in his 30s. He has a wife and 2 kids. And he speaks all over the world. And he was born without any arms or any legs. He has no arms, no legs. All he has is this artificial little foot here, and he calls that his chicken leg. But Nick Vujicic, he was talking at a school, at an elementary school, in a gym a little bit bigger than this gym. And on one side of the gym were some bleachers. And at the end of the assembly, when people started to leave and exit, all the teachers and students, there was a mom and her 3-year-old daughter sitting in the bleachers. And as soon as people started to leave, this mom let her 3-year-old start to run around. Because this 3-year-old was like this for 45 minutes, trying to stay still. And we all know what 3-year-olds do, right? Whatever they want. And so this 3-year-old, finally when people were leaving, she'd go get her energy out. So she bolted from her mom, and she starts running all around the gym and hopping and skipping and twirling and cartwheels and floating. And pretty soon, she's running full steam all around the gym. She's the same height as Nick. And pretty soon she's running right towards Nick and doesn't even see him. And he's off his wheelchair on the ground saying bye to people. Usually he's on it. But he's on the ground saying bye. And he sees her coming, but she doesn't see him. And he's like, oh no. Because he can't move. He doesn't have arms and legs, right? So at the last second, out of the corner of her eye, she catches a glimpse of him. And she's like, and slams on the brakes. And they're face to face. And she takes a step back. She looks him up and down. She says, what's going on here? She's never seen anybody without arms and legs before, right? This 3-year-old. But her next move, without really thinking, she puts both of her arms behind her back like this. And she hugs him with her neck like this. And it was so beautiful because she didn't care how tall he was. She didn't care the branding of his clothes. She didn't care whether he had arms or legs. All she cared about was the heart. And that's the only way he can hug, right? He doesn't have arms. So she was seeing that first, the heart. And you know who else sees the heart first? Puppies. These are my wife and I's 3 puppies. Anybody have a dog here? Okay, hands down, hands down. From left to right, we have Mrs. Murillo, we have Kiki Melaniki, and we have Bare Bones Jones III. Now look, this is them posing. This is them at Christmas. Easter. This is Bear's best friend, Dakota. They have play dates. Dakota wears a diaper. And he's also in a wheelchair. And so here's why I'm showing you guys this, right? Here's why I'm telling you guys this story. Because when Dakota, give me 5, 4, 3, peace, thank you. When Dakota was a baby puppy, his older brother, who was a different dog breed, a bigger dog, he was too rough with Dakota. And Dakota's brother was too rough with him when they played, and he actually hurt Dakota, hurt his 2 legs. And and he can't use his 2 legs anymore, just like Jenny. So he's paralyzed. So he uses this wheelchair to get around easier, right? Well, guess what? Do you think that Bear cares at all that his best friend is disabled? Bear doesn't care at all. Bear doesn't care at all, right? Because look, and then you guys have a dog, know this, all Bear cares about is that when it's time to play, for any of you guys that are going to go home today and see your dog that's waiting for you, probably like this right now, Bear will wait for an hour or two, just like this, not move, until his best friend gets there. Or until I get home, or my wife, because all these dogs care about is your heart. They don't care what kind of day you had, or they had, or what's on your heart. They just want to show you love. Without any conditions. Unconditional love. Everybody say that. Unconditional love. And what I mean by that is that means that we love everybody without any conditions. If they're taller, shorter, wider, thinner, glasses, different hair, different skin color, doesn't matter. We still show them love, no matter what, right? And this takes courage. Anybody seen the movie Wonder? Okay. Hands down. In the movie, there's a boy who plays somebody that has Treacher-Collins syndrome. But this boy here, his name is Jackson. Jackson Besant. He's from Idaho. And he actually has Treacher-Collins syndrome. And so this syndrome is where the tissue and the bones in your face, they don't fully form. And so sometimes it causes your face to look kind of disfigured. Well, guess what? He was getting teased like crazy from his classmates. And he said, I didn't mean to be born like this. I didn't mean to be born like this. But they were still calling him a monster. They were calling him ugly. So his dad went on social media. His dad went on the internet. And he put a request out. He said, can anybody give some encouragement to my son? And students your age from all over the country, some people thousands of miles away, they sent him videos of encouragement. They were having an impact on someone's life thousands of miles away. You guys can have an impact on everybody sitting in this room and within these walls here at Haviland. But you can have an even greater impact on people that need to hear your voice and need love. So he went back to school the next day. And a boy, even after this post and all the happiness that he received in these videos, he was still being mean to him. This one boy still called him a freak. And so 5 boys at the school, they stepped forward. And they said, that's not how you talk to people. That's not how you treat people. That's not going to work for us. And ever since they stood up for Jackson, everybody at the school accepts Jackson. But these 5 boys, they risked getting made fun of themselves or teased or bullied themselves just to include this person that otherwise wouldn't be included. And that is beautiful. But it takes courage, right? Not only to stand up for yourself, for other people, but it takes courage to stand up for yourself too. I had a 3rd grader named John, and he sent me a message. He sent me an email. 2 weeks after I spoke, he got tripped in the hallway by this bully, and he fell down. And he stood right back up, and he walked over to the bully, and he shook his hand, smiled, and said, have a great day. And the bully's mouth dropped while he's shaking his hand. And everybody watching, their mouths dropped. Because they expected him to cry, they expected him to run away, or they expected him to try to fight back and fail. But he did the opposite. And the biggest thing that this bully who was hurting needed the most, he showed him love. And now they're best friends. And it turns out this bully was getting bullied by his older brother at home, and he was just taking it out on other people. And what John did, he got his power back, and he took away the bully's power over him. But he did it without fist. He did it with his words and with kindness. And I can't guarantee that bullying will stop at Haviland or any school that I visit, but I guarantee the response will change. I stayed for lunch with some students after one of my assemblies recently, and I'm going to come back and have lunch with you guys one day next week, because we don't have time today because of the half day. But this boy, this 4th grader named Uriah, came up to me at lunch. He said, Mr. Peace, there's a bully at our school, But I really believe if we start treating him with love and kindness, it's going to change his heart. Right? And that takes courage to see someone for their heart first, but also for this. Every one of you on the palm of your hand, with the lines of your hands, on one of your hands or on both, you have the letter M on your hand. Every one of you on your palm, sometimes there's a faint line that connects it. Sometimes you have more than one on one hand or one on both hands. But every one of you has an M. And I traced mine here. If you can't find it right now, your teachers are going to spend all the next week helping you. But, okay, so this M stands for miracle. Everybody say miracle. Upside down W. W stands for worthy. Everybody say worthy. Well, here's the problem. Look, a lot of students I speak to, they don't see themselves as miracles. This is a student I spoke to by the Atlantic Ocean in Connecticut. His name is Dylan. And guess what? He came up to me and he pulled this out of his pocket and he was crying. He said that he kept getting bullied because of his size, because he was small for his age. And he said, Mr. Peace, you forgot that M also stands for mistake. He said someone in his life called him a mistake, and he believed that lie. He said, every day I look at this piece of paper to remember and remind myself who I am. It says, and this breaks my heart, it says, I'm a mistake. But he said, Mr. Peace, I don't want to believe this. I want to believe this, that I'm a miracle. And so his class, that same week, they sent me this picture. And they all traced their hands, and Dylan's hands in there too. And it has the M on there to show me that they're all standing up for Dylan, helping him see that he's a miracle, being his friend. And I just spoke at a school the other day in Northville, and one of the classes, right after I spoke, they went right back to their classroom. They all took a picture of their hands, and then they printed it out for me before I left. Because there was the same situation. One of the students in there was kind of feeling down, and they said that they want to help them see that they're all miracles, right? All of us can do that. And I just spoke at a different school in Pennsylvania, and this girl who was legally blind, her name was Kaida, she came up to me after my talk, and she had a walking stick to help her kind of feel where to go, so she really couldn't see. She couldn't even see her own hands. And she said, Mr. Peace, can you trace my M on my hand so that I could feel it? So I traced her M. And she said, Mr. Peace, that's the first time that I've ever felt like a miracle. Because she was always getting put down for how she was born. So all of you guys have that same power to show kindness if you choose that. This is a school that I visited, and I'm heading back there in April to try to bring some more healing to this community. But I got to speak here and at quite a few other schools in Newtown, Connecticut. Teachers will know what's going on here. But there was a big tragedy at this school back in 2012. And it turns out that this school and the whole community, they don't want to focus on that tragedy. They want to focus on kindness. So their second grade class gave me this. They all signed it. And it says, one kind word can change someone's entire day. One kind word can change someone's entire day. Do you guys believe that? Yeah. But we all have that power. And we all have to choose kindness, and we all have to choose love. The only word that's in focus here is the word in the middle in red, and it says love. That there might still be hate and fear and bullying, but love can overcome all of that. Where are my kindergartners at? Hands down. I had a kindergarten, I have a lot of students that they write me little things like little notes. And I had a kindergartner, a 5-year-old named Lillian, and she made me this little book. And it says, thank you, Mr. Peace, aim for the good days, not the bad days, love, Lillian. And the inside, it's blank. And I said, why'd you leave it blank? She said, well, I did that on purpose, Mr. Peace. I said, why? She said, because we choose what we're going to make our life, good or bad. We choose how we're going to treat people, with love or hate. This is a 5-year-old choosing love and kindness. If a 5-year-old, no offense, but if a 5-year-old can choose love and kindness, all of us can do this, right? We have to do this. And the need is there, guys. I was at a school recently, and this 4th grader named Julia came up to me after my talk, and she was crying, and she fell into my arms. And she said that she's the new girl at school, and she's getting put down and teased just because where she was born, in Korea. And she's tried making some new friends the first day at school. She sat down at their table to introduce herself, and all the students stood up at the table, and they walked to a different table. And they embarrassed her in front of everybody. So she tried the second table, and she sat down, and as soon as she sat down, they all stood up and walked to a different table. And they humiliated her. So she tried the third table, and she sat down between this boy and this girl, and the girl looked at her and said, "You can sit here. You can stay." And now they're best friends. And it turns out what's even cooler, now Julia, this girl, the girl who included her name was Kamaya, but Julia now makes it her job every lunch to look for other people who are alone and goes to sit by them. So the kindness keeps going. And on recess, they have a buddy bench at their school too. All right, I heard you guys have a buddy bench. She looks for people that are sitting alone on the bench and goes to ask them if they want to play and be their friend. And look, I just spoke at this school, and 2 5th graders, they started a Mr. Peace Club. I said, "What's that?" They said, "Well, it starts right now, Mr. Peace, today. And you put your name down and the date that you joined and people that you think need help or need a friend or need love. And then you go and be their friend and show them love." They have 50 people now part of their club. I just spoke there a few weeks ago. It's changing the whole culture of their school to be all about kindness. And you can call it the Eagle Club, you can call it the Kindness Club, whatever you want to call it. But that's something you guys can all do because you have that power. So look, if something I shared today touched your heart, can you raise your hand if something I shared touched your heart? Hands down. So that means you guys were given a gift. And it only took a few minutes, 45 minutes, to touch your heart. Now it's up to you to go share that with someone else. Because if I can touch your heart in less than an hour, you guys can have a huge impact on other people's hearts all around you if you choose love, if you choose kindness, right? These bracelets that I put on, I pick about 10 or 12 before every talk. And these become my armor and my strength. I got thousands of these. This is one of my bags. And I got a couple more from some students at the first assembly. But I pick about 10 or 12, they become my armor and strength, and they're bracelets that were given to me from people like you, some younger, some older, that said, "Mr. Peace, thanks for coming today. Thanks for touching my heart." And you guys all touched my heart too. And if there's something that you need to share with me, you guys can reach out to me through my website, mrpeace.org, or through YouTube, Mr. Peace 101, Mr. Peace Geese, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You guys can send me an email. All your teachers are going to get one of my cards, and they can make copies for you guys that have my information on the back, where you guys can get my music. You guys can reach out to me if something's on your heart before I come back and talk to you at lunch one-on-one. Also, if you guys want to continue the message, these shirts are online in different colors. One raised human with the peace sign, and these other shirts that say, "Keep your head up, upside down on purpose." So if you're feeling down or look down, it says, "Keep your head up." You guys can get CDs, DVDs to keep the message going. But guys, more importantly, I want you to continue the message by how you choose to live, how you choose to treat other people, right? Also, what some schools are doing, and I'm going to send your teachers some follow-up resources to keep the conversation going, but a school in California started this concept. It's a kindness pledge, school-wide. And everybody traces their hands, and they cut it out, and they write an M in the middle of where their M is on their hand. They write their name down, and you write one thing you're going to do every day to show more kindness. Whether it's including somebody, meeting somebody different, and you do that. You put it into a giant peace sign so you guys can see it every day and remind you of what we talked about. So everybody say, healed people, heal people. Healed people, Say appreciate diversity. Say show kindness. Say be a leader. Say have courage. Say I'm a miracle. And say make the right choice. All right, I'm going to close with some hip hop, okay? Another song for you guys. Get all my talents. Your principal here, okay? But you guys, 2 fingers up for peace. And then we can, on the way out, give me a hug or high five and hope I see you guys next week, okay? You guys touch my heart. This song's about diversity. I got to get in my zone. Let's talk right after, okay? Thank you. Mike check, 2 fingers up for peace. This song's about diversity and kindness. Here we go. Let's rock it. Mike check. Haviland, listen in like this. Let's just rock for peace from west to east. Listen, D-I-V-E-R-S-I-T-Y. Have to respect what's on the outside. So do it please, cause we're all human beings. Yeah, here at Haviland Elementary, we appreciate the dignity of everyone. Yeah, diversity is fun. Yo, it's also important and it's cool. It's what brings life to our school. We have to open our hearts, yeah we must, to others who are different than us. Sometimes our closed minds, they bend, shield us from meeting new friends, only cause we only look at skin color and don't care about what's within. But no matter who you are, how you look, you just gotta pay attention to this hook. So Haviland, hey, here is the deal I'm saying. D-I-V-E-R-S-I-T-Y. Have to respect what's on the outside. So do it please, cause we're all human beings. Yeah, here at Haviland Elementary, we appreciate the dignity of everyone. Yeah, diversity is fun, fun, fun. Yeah, yeah, diversity is fun. Everybody say, I'm a miracle. Everybody say, I'm a miracle. All right, guys, thanks for touching my heart. Thank you. Hope to see you guys again soon.